2009, we purchased a small 1940s bungalow in Topeka, Kansas. This was so my daughter could live there while she was going to law school at Washburn University. And the home is small. It's less than 1,000 square feet, a touch under. It's 2-bedroom, 1-bath, but it has a full basement, which is nice, partially finished, and that was also nice. But there was a lot of DIY projects that had to go into this home and a lot of major renovations that required contractors, electricians, and plumbers to fix. So buying an older home might seem like it's idyllic in that it seems very romantic and you think you can fix it up the way you want, but there are certain limitations and budgetary constraints that you have to take into consideration also when you have all this work to do. So I'm going to go through the way the house looked in 2009 and the progression that it went through until now in 2025. I want to preface this by saying in 2012, my daughter did not stay in the home. She decided to move and rented it out, and we had tenants in the home until we took it over in 2021. So some of the renovations were done in 2009 and nothing was touched basically until we moved in 2021. The first picture that you see here is the exterior of the home. And you can see that even though the picture is a little grainy, you can see that the cement and the front walkway is just covered with mold. They had these horrible, outdated metal awnings over the door and windows. And the red circle is indicative of a large oak tree that was never removed, was very close to the driveway, and ultimately its roots just tore up the whole asphalt driveway. And when we first drove by this home, we had no intentions of even stopping to look at it. But after looking at a number of other homes, we decided to give it a chance. And it turned out that a lot of the renovations were doable and that the bones of the home were still pretty good. Here's another picture of the side view of the home. You can see there's a barberry bush at the corner. Every time we walk by, we got the thorns in us, so we removed that. The awnings, you can see now clearly, they just did not let any light into the home. It made it very dark and dismal inside. And you can see how dirty the cement steps were. And a lot of these things were just, not hard to do, but required some money. Somebody had to come in and remove the awnings. And power washing is something we could do ourselves. So this picture that I'm showing you here, you can see the discoloration around the door. That was where the awning was removed. That was rectified simply by power washing. And we took down the awnings over the windows, and we had some shutters put on the home, which really added some depth and hominess to it. And we added some planter boxes. Now this, of course, was not done ourselves. We had to pay somebody. So this was done to the tune of about $450 back in 2009. When we bought the house, there was not enough amps brought into the home to accommodate a dishwasher and a microwave. So you can see there were additional wires brought into the house down to the electric meter. And we also had to have, down below is our basement, a new electrical box installed, and we changed the amperage from 100 amps to 200 amps to accommodate dishwasher and a microwave, which was not common in 1940s. Plus there were fuses, so the electrical box we had to do so we could get new breakers, have additional breakers if we wanted to do anything additional to the house. This is the new electrical box that was added into our home, and as you can see, there are breakers. Not all of them are being used. When we bought the house in 2009, since this had to be upgraded, we asked the seller to chip in half. It was a $1,500 cost, so it was $750 for them and $750 for us to run more electricity into the house and get the new breaker box, which we thought was fair. This picture shows actually how the kitchen looked in 2009. The cabinets were actually built into the kitchen. The contractor told us it was common in the 1940s for them to just do that. So there was no way to just remove one cabinet and put in a dishwasher. It was just one long run of wood with cutouts and doors put on it, no draw pulls, and it was made out of plywood. So we decided to gut the whole kitchen. We needed new ground fault electrical outlets anyway, receptacles put in the kitchen. We wanted to get new countertop, new sink, new faucet. We added a garbage disposal. We got rid of the apron over the sink. And we just felt that it was just easier to just do it all in one fell swoop, and the contractor was willing to do it at a reasonable price. So all told, the renovation on the kitchen was about $5,000. The $5,000 did include not only the labor and the new cabinets and so forth, but also to get a microwave and a dishwasher installed into the kitchen. As you can see here, there was none in either spot, and this is why we had to add the extra electricity into the home so that we could put those two items into the kitchen. Upon entering the kitchen, you can see we added a garbage can. We don't have any other place to put the garbage except here, so that's where it has to go. And this is how the kitchen looks. This was done in 2009. So these cabinets that are here, top and bottom, were here, and we replaced the countertop with a new Formica countertop. We did the backsplash with those DIY plastic tiles that you can put on that look like tin, and it's fine, it works. We did have to add some new light fixtures here and up above, just so we had more light. The light fixture was very, very small in here. And as you can see, this is where we had to put the dishwasher. So we have a new dishwasher, and you can open, this kitchen is good size. You can open up the dishwasher here, and I can open up my stove here, and they won't hit each other. So the kitchen has a good width to it, which is perfect. Now, all these appliances, the oven and this microwave, the French door refrigerator that we have here, and the dishwasher were all purchased in 2021 when we moved in. There was all beige appliances, and they became outdated and they were not as energy efficient, but we also did have to replace a sink and a new faucet. The InSinkerator worked fine, so that we kept. And this year we redid the flooring. There was the roll vinyl in here covered over with some stick grip vinyl tiles. Removed that and put these tiles in ourselves. Came out great. Happy with the way it looks. Put new trim, front and back. So now everything looks good. Clean, new threshold, and new vent. So the kitchen was redone. And in the old kitchen, they also had these old aprons that came across the top here. We made sure that was totally removed. There was no reason to have that old looking apron effect that they used to have across the front. And we have right now just mini blinds on here. All the windows were replaced in 2021. So we'll probably get around to doing something with the windows as far as the window treatment in here, getting a nicer one, but that was not a priority right now. And the reason we did not put like granite or anything fancy in here is, to be honest, this neighborhood does not warrant it. It's just not an upscale neighborhood. Now, if I wanted it for me, I would do it. But right now, this countertop, we put in 2009, and there is not a scratch or a dent or a ding on it. So we're leaving it alone. And on this side, I did put a huge cutting board on top of it so that I can put hot plates, chop, and have it right next to my stove. When we took possession of the home back in 2021, we did have to do some additional upgrades to the kitchen. We replaced all the appliances with stainless steel appliances that were more energy efficient. We put in a new sink and a faucet. So that came out to about $4,000 as an initial outlay in 2021. Then in 2024, we did the floor over again, and that was an additional $500 for new flooring and trim. To do a quick recap, I want to tell you that in 2009, when we first moved in, we put in new cabinets in the kitchen, a countertop, a faux tin backsplash, sink, a faucet, and a sink disposal. And that cost $5,000 for everything plus the install, which was very reasonable. And then between 2021 and 2024, we added all new stainless steel appliances. We replaced the sink with a new stainless steel sink, a new faucet, and we did flooring and trim. And that cost us an additional $5,000. These are the only before pictures I actually have of the bathroom, but this is where the toilet was located next to a door. You can see there's a shallow tub, and the red circle indicates no shower line, and there was no green board behind the tub area, so it was not moisture or waterproof. So with the removal of the toilet, we decided we would shift the toilet next to the tub, and this way we could put in an elongated toilet bowl. It was really not a hard fix for the plumber because we have a basement, so everything is exposed underneath in the ceiling that he could see, and he could run new water lines for the shower fairly easily. But the whole entire process of redoing the bathroom was also another $5,000. That was for a new tub, shower, completely redoing all the walls, having a new vanity, sink, faucet installed, toilet installed. So it was about $5,000 between the plumbing, the electrical supplies, and the general contractor's fee. This is how the bathroom looks today, and it looks pretty much the same way as it did in 2009. That window was already there. We just, in 2009, replaced the window as part of the renovation. The green board was put behind the walls. We installed all vinyl paneling throughout the bathroom. It's waterproof, so we don't have any leakage or seepage going behind the walls, which is perfect. We also use an additional shower curtain, which helps buffer the window a little more and keeps the back wall drier when we're taking a shower. The tub that we replaced is extra deep. We added the shower that was missing. We also moved the toilet, like I said, and we bought an elongated one-piece toilet. So now it's next to the tub, and our vanity is next to the door, which makes a lot more sense. And it just looks a lot nicer than the way it used to look. We just recently did the flooring here. So that was just the most recent addition. And everything looks really good in the bathroom now. The stairs going down to our basement were very dangerous. So these are the new stairs that we put in, and I just lightly put some linseed oil on top of them. I did not polyurethane the steps, and I used these really great little treads that actually stick lightly to the step, and they really grip when you step on them, so I'm not afraid of falling. But the problem with the old stairs was missing a stringer in the back. There were no rails on the side protecting you. The handrail was really dilapidated and worn. Plus, the steps were very shallow. So the contractor actually made these steps longer from front to back by like 1.5 inches. And so the incline came out a little bit more. So you see we have this pole here. He could not do it too far because it couldn't go into the pole, but he did extend each stair. So now it's much safer going down the steps, and we have a light fixture at the bottom and the top that is really bright, that gives us good visualization as we're coming down. So there is no chance of us hurting ourselves. And here is the flooring we put down. These are just carpet tiles that are 2 feet by 2 feet, because underneath here, I'm going to pull up one. Do you see that black? That's mastic. That's dangerous glue. We had these 9x9 vinyl tiles on the floor that were all popping up. They were held down with mastic, and we did not want to create any dust with the mastic. So it was safest just to put down these carpet tiles that are rubber backed. They work well with my dogs if they have any accidents, and we really like them. We used them in our other home when we lived in Texas. And we just kind of made this a very cozy area. We also we put baseboard heating in down here in 2009, just so you know. There was no heat in this room, so the baseboard heating was put in 2009, but the staircase and the flooring was done in 2021. I did a video where I decided to cover the back of the exposed stairwell with a tablecloth, and this is how it looks. Originally, I used this as a desk space, but then I decided to just keep my printer on it, and I moved my desk over here. I also do some eBay, so I needed a blank wall, so this is my blank wall for my eBay that I do. And all this used to be dark brown knotty pine paneling that we covered over, and I did a DIY chalk paint, and I did a video on that as well. Came out really nice. It was super simple, and I did not have to do any real prep for the pine, even though it was shiny a little bit. I just washed it down and then slapped the paint on, and it's adhered. It's been up here for a couple of years already. Did the ceiling as well. One thing, again, people in Topeka really like to use paneling and pavers for some reason. And this here is an opening, and unfortunately there's no door to the unfinished side of the basement, and there's no heat on that side. So temporarily I've just hung a couple of curtains on here with some batting to kind of create insulation from air blowing in to this space, because we do have the baseboard heater going. I had this old dresser in my bedroom upstairs. I brought this downstairs. It works out really good for someone if they want to stay, because the couch that we have down here is a pull-out sofa. So if we have guests, they can come down and stay, and they have a place to put their clothes or whatever. And we have a little entertainment area here, so they have a place to watch television as well, and a hammock. So the space is very warm and cozy and inviting now. And I'm really glad that we did all the renovations that we did to this space, because it looks much nicer. It looks totally different than what it used to be. So the total renovations for the basement started with the baseboard heating, which was $300 in 2009. That was for the baseboard unit, and then we had the electrician. I can't remember the total cost. Maybe it was total $500. But we had a new basement stairwell, and the contractor provided all the supplies, all the lumber, and he did it for $4,000. We took up the vinyl tiles in the basement, and we got rid of them ourselves, so that cost us $0, but we put down the carpet tiles, which we also did ourselves, to a tune of $500. And then we did a DIY chalk paint, and it took me about 2 gallons of latex paint and some plaster of Paris, so it was about $150 for the paint. And then it was another maybe $700 to buy the television and any decorations down there, and the television stand that we put the TV on. So the total cost for everything was about $5,500 for the basement. Another thing I did not even think of, but a lot of the older homes had radiators for heating. And then when they updated, they ended up using forced hot air, but the vents were along the wall on the floor. So they used gravity vents. And the gravity vents we had looked like the picture on the left, and they had these fins, and they had a solid damper that would open and close. And I didn't like them, and they were all rusted and decrepit. So we had to buy 7 new gravity vents, and they ran about $450, $500 depending on the style. The style I got was a farmhouse style. I did not like the center lever to open and close the vent system, so I opted for the ones that had levers on both sides, and I'm really happy I did. In addition to doing gravity vents, which is an easy fix that you can do on your own, we had to change out the doorknobs and the back plates on all the interior doors because they were really rusted and falling apart. So we just opted to stay with the same brass back plate, and my husband picked out a crystal doorknob. It was an easy fix, and it cost us about $250. The next thing I had to do was remove some popcorn ceilings, and this was a really interesting story. And I spoke to a couple of contractors in the area, and they told me that I could test for asbestos, but he was almost positive there wasn't any asbestos on the ceiling. And that's because even though there was popcorn, there were little sparkles in the ceiling and mixed into the paint. And he said, well, when people had to get the plaster ceilings repaired, and these walls in the old house that I live in are all plaster, ceilings, walls, everything, baseboards you can't change out because you'll rip the plaster off the walls. He said they would have you come back in, put the popcorn back on to cover the patches, which I can understand, and add the sparkles to it. So I was like, okay, but I said, I don't want any sparkles and I don't want any popcorn. So I took it down myself and I had it tested and there was no asbestos in the paint, so I was fine. So this was an easy project. It's easy to take down popcorn ceiling. You just need some warm water, and I used a plastic scraper, and it took down all the popcorn, but it's messy. So you just have to make sure you cover everything, but it's really easy to do. Took it down. All the ceilings are smooth now. Yes, I can see some of the patches from where the plaster was patched, but it doesn't bother me. I just don't like the textured ceiling. Two of the most expensive exterior fixes are doors and windows, and we needed doors terribly. The doors needed to be replaced because, number one, they weren't, again, insulating the house. Plus, it's a danger not to have an effective door on your house to provide some kind of safety, and windows that have locks on it that at least work to some degree. And we got 5 new doors, a front, side, rear, and 2 storm doors, and it was $3,000 with the installation. Another interesting thing people don't realize about old homes is the windows are not like you would think. There's no insulation. It's a pane of glass inserted in a frame. And then we had storm windows on the outside, which was another pane of glass inserted in a metal frame. Had a lot of condensation, drafts, couldn't open and close the windows. So those had to definitely go. I don't know if you can tell on this picture, but the picture on the left is showing the new windows that we had put in, and there's no more storm windows on there. And we also took off the flower boxes because I felt that was detracting from the front of the home at this point, and they were becoming more work than they were worth. And the right side is showing the basement windows. I cleaned up the whole area. I repainted the concrete, so it's just clean and neat. And the windows now are functional. So to replace all the windows on the home, including the basement, it was $3,000 for the 10 windows upstairs and the 6 windows downstairs. That's the total cost for the actual windows. And then it was another $4,000 to install them. In order to also spruce up the curb appeal on the house, we had some peeling foundation paint, and we did not want to paint the concrete, so we decided to cover it with vinyl lattice, which worked out really well. It cost about $500, and we did have to buy a special tool that was a concrete nail gun by Tapcon, which cost us an additional $100 to do the project properly. In this picture, you can see the arrow that shows where an oak tree used to be, and it was finally removed. And we got the new asphalt driveway installed for $4,000, and it was definitely needed to be done. But the main thing was people came around and wanted to just do a sealer on top of the asphalt that was all ruined. I don't understand what they were trying to pull, but we said absolutely not. And we made sure we did it properly. We got the tree removed first and then had the whole asphalt driveway lifted up, removed, and a new middle driveway was put down. This project with the pavers was free, and that's because pavers are all over the property. Brick pavers, cement pavers, whatever kind of pavers people can get a hold of in Topeka, they use for everything. So this was something that was underneath my fence line. It was supposed to prevent weeds. It didn't do anything because they had sunk below the ground about 6 to 8 inches. So I decided to rework them into a garden border. And again, I had a lot of brick pavers that were found all over my property. A lot of them were sunk under the ground by 6 to 8 inches. So I just took them and reworked them into an edge around the cement walkway, around the side of my house, on the front of my house. So it was a free project. It just took some elbow grease. I've given you a basic rundown of what the renovations were in this 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1940s bungalow located in Topeka, Kansas, for 2021 through 2024. Again, we had renovations we did back in 2009, which ran approximately $10,000, and maybe a little more when we take into account the electrical box and just putting some decorative shutters on the front of the home. But I'm not really nickel and diming it. So it was $10,000 in 2009, and we've spent about $25,000 so far from 2021, 2025. And we do have additional work that you did not see behind the scenes, such as plumbing that had to be done. And so, you know, things like your furnace, your air conditioning, and your water heater, things you don't necessarily see, but they're going to need to be done. And ours will need to be done in the next coming year or so. So that's going to be another big chunk of change. Deferred maintenance is probably not the best idea. We were renting our house from 2012 to 2021, and we probably would have been better off doing some renovations over that time frame instead of getting hit all at once with these renovations. But it is what it is, and luckily our contractor at the time was very reasonable to do a lot of the repairs both times, back in 2009 and 2021. And probably because of COVID, he was willing to do the job a little cheaper than he normally would. That he has said that he feels he undercharged us because I've recommended him to other neighbors. But overall, it is what it is, and I'm not going to allow an investment to deteriorate, because a home is an investment. So if you like this video, give it a like, a share, a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you next time on Big City Girl, Small City Living. Bye.